To order, I guess the first thing we'll do will be roll call. Jeff Stevens.
Here.
George Bishop.
Yes, ma'am.
Ray Van Meter.
Here.
Ron Sargent. I'm here. Okay, we need to approve the November and January, meeting minutes. Since we didn't have quorum, we couldn't do some of them last time,
So
so.
moved.
Seconded.
A second.
All approve? Aye. Okay, I guess the next item on the agenda will be the manager's report.
All right. So the staff has removed all the dead trees that we marked back in the fall. Got them done fairly early this year, because winter was pretty good to us this year. So, we do have a licensed and insured contractor that's gonna be coming in May the 15th and again on June the 20th to continue to cut down the trees that are dead. And this will be an ongoing process until, further notice, I guess. But at the end of the summer, we'll start marking the dead trees for, staff to remove over the winter months in, 2024. Cul-de-sac installation, because the winter was so good to us, we were able to, expand some of the cul-de-sacs that, really virtually there was no cul-de-sac there. So that does help with, snow removal operations and for people, when they get to that dead end street to be able to turn around without using someone's private driveway. Staff has been replacing and upgrading drainage culverts over the last couple of months. We've replaced 205 feet on 5 different trails, and we will continue to do so as needed.
I was gonna say, I'll bring up that I've seen some of the work on Tecumseh where you all have done the, put the riprap in the ditches and whatnot, and that looks good. I'm sure that'll help out immensely with keeping it from eroding away with all the
Absolutely, yes.
water that we get, you know.
Right,
Especially even though this is the first real rain we really had for a while.
yes.
You know, it tears up, but I want to say they did a good job with that. It looks good.
Thank you. The fishing derby will be held May 13th. The fish were ordered on February the 6th. They will be delivered May the 12th, Friday, May the 12th, around 10 a.m. And we will put signs up to make sure that no one gets in there and fishes before Saturday morning when the derby starts, or hopefully they don't. Beach season, pretty close. Currently, the lake is down 4.5 feet. We do have it scheduled to open May the 25th. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the water level is at that time and make a decision whether we want to open or see if, if we want to hold off. The fence, I'm sure everybody's noticed the fence that we're putting up out here. This was given to us by the solid waste manager with the Public Works Department several years ago. We had some time with having a pretty mild winter, so we decided to go ahead and start putting some of this fence up, and as time allows, we will continue until we have the whole place enclosed. Playgrounds, as we do every year, we check the playgrounds over in the spring and again in the fall, and periodically throughout that time to make sure everything is safe. The playground up here on Tomahawk was put in the spring of '08, and it's still in really good condition. However, the one up on Maple is starting to really show its age. And I know we've talked about it before, and there's been subcommittees formed before to check into stuff, and nothing's ever happened, but at some point, we need to make a decision on if we're gonna keep that area up there or just do away with it. And the last item that I have is the mail houses, the roofs on the mail houses. They have the cedar shake shingles, and the one at the back gates on Bowman Lane, the shingles are getting in really bad shape. A lot of them are starting to rot, and we spend a lot of time back there, especially after a windstorm, replacing shingles. So something's gonna have to happen back there in the next year or so. And eventually, it's gonna be the same thing at this one up here. So a decision's gonna have to be made. I would recommend not going back with the cedar shakes and putting a metal roof on these things when we do, replace. It's more of a permanent fix for many, many years. So that's all I have, Rhonda.
Although this last item is not on the agenda as an action item, is there any way can we do a motion to have them look into getting quotes or to do that? Cause that, I tell you, that, I've seen the shingles too, they don't look too good for anyone that gets that. And I guess if we don't do it, then I'm just saying, you know, can we make a motion to get quotes on it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Make a motion for manager to get quotes on replacing the roof.
second? Okay, all in favor? Discussion?
So have we looked at just normal shingles there, architectural shingles or something?
We haven't looked at
Haven't done
anything.
anything, right?
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying, we need to do something. I'm just, you know, the architectural shingles are a nice looking shingle. They will last a lot longer than the cedar shakes, but they won't last as long as metal. And the price difference is not a whole lot, so we'll check into all those.
That's a good idea, okay.
Okay. Now the discussion's over. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Well, I guess you're free to go ahead and get some quotes and whatnot to present. And I don't know if we'll see them at the next meeting or if it's something that, you know, we can view, you know, through emails and make a determination if we need to have a meeting.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. Next up is an update on the status of Crystal Lake Cherokee Dam. Kevin, or Joe, do you have any information? I mean, I know in the manager's report it said that the water level was down. I'm guessing that's because possibly a combination between the fact that the leak is not totally sealed, but we also have not gotten a lot of rain until just recently. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, it just keeps leaking at a rate, and it's just been very dry. Winter, we're not in drought, but it's been dry. No snow for recharge.
Okay. So I guess,
So we're just at status quo, we haven't moved forward, don't know anything about it, still same place? And if you get that level to rise up, then we're gonna open up on time, and if it doesn't, we're gonna think about not doing it.
I'll leave that up to you guys, yeah, whatever you guys wanna do.
You've seen it, I haven't been over there in a couple of weeks.
It's low.
It's 4.5 feet right now.
So I guess the question that are we asking is reference to the addition or the second attempt at repair, is that what we're looking for on here? And the first was only partially successful?
Yeah, we had partially done it, and then when we came back with a further update, everybody didn't want to spend the money right now and see where things ended up. That's kind of where we are.
So the leak is down to, what, 150
So do we want to see what happens with this current season? And how, if it leaks more than what it's currently leaking, you know, and dependent upon if we get additional rain, and weigh it out from that point? How do we wanna handle it?
I personally don't wanna put any more money into it. I would prefer to pack it full of clay and grout.
George?
I don't think it hurts my feelings to see it go through a season and see where we are.
Barry?
Is there a time frame on the second grouting that it would have to be, or will it hold for?
I mean, what my thought would be, let's see what, I mean, with the way the flows have been, I don't think it's gonna be a good year to beach, but get through the summer, see where the waters are at, and an ideal time to grout, if we're gonna choose to do it, would be in the fall.
Okay.
So what I was thinking, come back at the August meeting, if everything's looking good on the budget, maybe make a recommendation that we move forward with, that, and then we can always, then what I would have to do is just, on y'all's recommendation, go to the Public Works and back to the board, just to get the money moved out, back to do a grouting.
And it's already been allocated, right?
Yeah, I just gotta ask for it to go put in the New Year's budget.
Is there any way we can get these people back here for the August meeting? Cause they were very confident in their work for the first
If you
time.
want us to, yes, I can have Viola and come back if you wanna talk to them.
Okay.
If we were to do anything now, we'd still have to drain that lake some more, right? And we can't do it like it is.
No,
So
that's why I'm saying,
might as
if
well go through
if
the
it
season.
does what I'm,
Right.
if we have the year I'm thinking, it's gonna drop a lot
Okay.
on its own. And then we can just get the money back into the budget, if we wanna do the grouting, and set it up for like October.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any kind of motion?
How about you just table it until August?
Okay, all right. Do we have a second on tabling?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then this will be tabled until the August meeting, and it'll be contingent upon basically what occurs.
Well, we'll update y'all anyway,
Right,
whatever.
right.
Everybody will know what's going on, and y'all can make an informed decision.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is tar and chip program and equipment replacement recommendations. And I know that we want to keep the budget as in line as we can and keep it low. Currently, we've been very fortunate, we haven't had to increase our fees at all, our sanitary district fees, and I'm not sure that if we went ahead and did the program for the tar and chip and equipment replacement, that we would be required to do an increase. I mean, from what we were looking at in the three budgets laid out, there wasn't an increase in the fees, correct, if we went with those? First of all, myself personally, I think that the tar and chip is important to keep up with. I mean, I know a lot of people may not want to spend the money on it, but it's like if we don't do it, with the way things are going, the price increases, it's only gonna get more expensive to try to keep up this maintenance. Anything that's associated with gasoline, I guess, or fuels, which I guess tar and whatnot, asphalt, anything like that, it's gonna go up. And I think that it would behoove us to go ahead and implement the program again this year and get these roads repaired and fixed, to keep them up to standards, because the longer you let them go, the more it's gonna cost, and some of them are in probably a little bit worse shape than others. Do we have any that are real notable as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, there's a couple of trails need some real attention that we've had to put on the back burner over the last couple of years.
I mean,
So,
this, as far as this is concerned, and I mean, this also adds value to your home, maybe not a whole lot, but it adds value to your home to have decent roads up here. And they're not only utilized by us, but, you know, emergency responders and whatnot, and this is something that's used 365 days out of the year. And as far as the tar and chip is concerned, I think that it's a good idea to keep it up, because if you keep on top of it, then it's not as bad as just letting it go all the way and not having it done at all. So I would like to, I guess I can't really make a motion. I can't make a motion, but I would like to see someone on the committee make a motion to continue or to put this tar and chip program back in line to be done this coming fiscal year, or this upcoming fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
Question. So, are you looking to do both the tar and chip and also the replace the equipment in the same budget?
That
Or
would-
is it one or the other?
That would be probably the idea, and my guess is, as far as the equipment is concerned, and I may be speaking out of place, but I would guess with regards to the equipment, you could ask to replace the pieces that need it the most right now. I mean, I'm sure there's a good bit, but some of them could probably hold off a little bit longer and take the most important ones.
It was the sickle bar mower and the dump?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
priorities?
I think I handed that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there.
Did we not just push forward the bare bones budget?
We did,
That is what we had, yes.
we recommended that, but we also said that we could come back at a later meeting, and
Has that been approved?
has it gone
Has
to,
that budget
Excuse me?
been approved already? The one that we
Yeah,
pushed forward? So that's the one we're on, that cycle,
the
right?
one that will be starting July 1st has been approved by the board. The option, the very bare bones.
however, to get the funding for this will require, I guess, a carry forward from this current fiscal year budget, is that?
I would recommend, if you want it, I'll just come back in July and ask for a new appropriation for that. I don't wanna keep doing the carry forward thing.
Right,
Is it
I'm
just-
just trying to.
No, I mean, what we could say, once we look at the final numbers and see where we're at, cause right now we're still over, we still have over 300,000 we haven't spent in this year's budget. So if we get into July 1st, we see where our numbers are at, you all could recommend, if you wanted to do a tar and chip program in August, and then we could take it back through the board, a certain amount of appropriation, if that's what you'd so desire. And that way, we'd have the final numbers for this. I mean, I know we're gonna have money left over because we didn't have any snow hardly, and
That goes back to the reserve, does it not?
Mhm.
whatever's not spent goes right in the reserve. Yes, sir. Reserve right now is about 1.45,
And we're required to keep what, it's 1 year's,
just 1 year's budget.
1 year's worth of a budget in there.
But we're not putting any back in it.
Not yet, we haven't.
We're spending everything plus reserve every year.
We haven't had to increase the price, the fees though, in order to do that. Because we're still, not only is what we're putting in there, but you have to remember that when they pay the sanitary district fees, that's what's going in there. What we have left over for the budget goes in there as well, but the majority of it is collected through the fees. Am I correct on that? And then any monies that I guess we have for like revenues or whatnot, it earns does it earn interest, or I'm trying to remember.
I'm not sure how they've done
Very,
it.
very little, but.
Yeah, I guess some is better than none,
True.
but, you know, so it's not just like we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, it's,
Right now, we have a lot of expenditures. We got the mail house,
but that's already been
Roofing.
budgeted.
Roofing has not been, though, has it?
No, but we, you know, that's not done yet. We don't know what we'll have until we get budget, but these
Mhm.
roads and this equipment is very important.
Kevin, what are we talking about? Which trails, how many miles, and what's the
Well, I don't know.
anticipated cost? I mean, if it's been,
I have no idea. I just assumed that we weren't gonna do any, because it's the budget you got
That'd be
to push
something-
through, so.
Yeah, that would be something we could
Yeah.
just look into.
Yeah,
yeah, if you don't mind, if you just take an eyeball and over the next few weeks, maybe figure out which way we'll try to go with it.
Okay, so do we have a motion to maybe revisit this back in August?
I don't think we need one.
Okay,
You can put that on the agenda for an action item
okay.
in August.
Okay. I just wanna make sure here. Okay. All right, next item is the sale of Shawneeland or county property. I was contacted by a gentleman a while back that would like to purchase a lot. Pull up some information. It's on, he wants to purchase a lot, I believe it's on Archwood Trail. And the reason being is it's adjacent to the property he currently owns. The property is owned by Shawneeland, so to speak, or the county. So I contacted the county attorney and with some questions as to whether or not we could do this. And here's what his, certainly. 31, if you want it.
No worries,
Okay, and basically the questions, you know, we had were, I told him up front that we would have to run through this committee. And if we were to make the recommendation to go forward, then it would have to go through Public Works, possibly Finance, to see where the money would go if it were sold, and then to the board for their final approval. But I had some questions for the county attorney, such as, you know, would it be permitted? And according to the county attorney, he said yes. With doing so, what I just said it would happen. They would, and then the board at that time, if they were agreeable, would have to hold a public hearing on it. And then I was kind of curious as to how they would determine a fair sale price, or would it be sold for the assessed value? And the county attorney said that he didn't believe that we had any formal mechanism, but he said absent significant differentiating factors involving the parcel, we would likely look at the prices being somewhere in the range of the tax assessed value. That's how it would be handled. And I'm only reading this out loud so that you all in the audience, you know what was said. And then who would handle the appropriate paperwork / procedures, in other words, deed, title search, survey, closing, etc. And he said typically the buyer handles paperwork for closing on a property, and the contingency to sale would be board approval following the public hearing. And then I had a final question about with regards to the proceeds, if it would go to the Sanitary District Reserve Fund, or would it require a separate revenue line item? And he, at that point, he said that he would have to defer to either Joe or Kevin, and the answer may or not be determined by whether the lot is titled to Shawneeland or to the county. But that would be something I think that could probably be determined based on, you know, if we decide to go forward. But I always ask a million questions, and so that's why I wanted to get with him to see if, first of all, if it could be done, and then some of the fine points. So now, that would be up to you all.
I was under the impression they had to go to an auction, so.
Not for the specific county property. I think the ones that went to auction, if I recall correctly, and that was the ones that,
What's that?
Delinquent taxes.
Yeah, delinquent sanitary district fee and taxes were the ones, they were owned by people that you couldn't find them, you couldn't collect the taxes, so, those were the ones that went up for
Well, I'm just saying,
auction.
say, you know, this guy wants a piece of property, but what if somebody else wants that same piece of property?
Right.
How do we determine who's it fair to go to?
Yeah, that's the same question, like, how many lots do we actually have in
Quite a few.
Shawneeland,
I
supposedly?
mean, I don't care, I don't know
Right,
who it is, I don't care, I'm
right,
just looking
right.
up.
But a lot of
I
lots
understand.
that we have are also used for certain things. County has a couple lots down on Tecumseh where I think it's B and C trails tie in and they cross those lots. There's ones up here on Tomahawk where we've got a big drainage ditch that the county's put in, so.
Okay.
The Shawneeland owns quite a few, some of which probably there's no reason to keep, you could sell them, but a lot of them that we own are used for a purpose.
Mhm.
Going on to this, I know the county can sell to an individual, I mean, it's sold to lots of businesses and whatnot, but I would be inclined that if we were going to sell it, first it would have to be something that Kevin says that we don't need or use for whatever reason. And then I agree that it has to go to an auction because,
Right.
you know, one person being interested in there may be others. So
Mhm.
not
I
only
agree.
everybody has a fair chance at it, but it also gives the best market value of what the lot is.
Mhm.
It takes away the corruption factor too, they say, oh, well, you sold it to this guy and
Crumbs.
didn't give anybody else a
That's right.
chance.
One thought on the other idea is just, you put available lots out and then you take sealed bids. You could do it that way and you wouldn't have to pay the auctioneer.
We can set a reserve on those?
We'd have to work through with finance. and
Correct,
all
yes,
that.
sir. Right.
And we wanna do some work. To do it right, we need to get a listing of lots and then
Mhm.
did some work together on exhibits and
Right.
someone promote a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's one way to do it. You can do an auction, or you have to take bids though.
Yeah.
You gotta have a public
Yes, sir.
way of,
Right.
everyone would have to have an opportunity to,
Yeah, you have to disseminate that information, it can't just be word of mouth and,
yes.
or the
It
Winchester
requires
Star.
newspaper and
Yeah.
those ads to it.
That's right.
That's part of the process that the treasurer has to go through when they do their lot sale,
Right.
which is also pricey. But I think that's something we can look into, there's no sense in Shawneeland paying district fees on Shawneeland's lots as we do it currently, so. You know, if somebody wants to buy them, by all means. So, I think we just have Kevin take a look at the ones that we own
Uh-huh.
that we don't need. Cause you can go onto the GIS website
Right.
and then type in Shawneeland, it'll tell you all the ones we own.
So my guessing you can just respond to this person and say, hey, it's gotta go through a county process and
I've already,
needs more work if you haven't.
yeah, initially, when they asked that, I kind of explained the procedure
Yes,
that
ma'am.
we have to take it through our committee and so forth
Yeah.
and so on, and it's,
Cool.
and that's, I just let them know that at that point, so I guess at this point, I will contact them and let them know that, we're doing a little bit more research on this before we
Okay.
make any type of decision, firm decision. Okay. So. All right, do we want to make some sort of a motion with regards to how this is gonna be handled?
I think once,
that we need a motion. for
yeah,
it.
and once Kevin gets the information together of lots that Shawneeland doesn't
Yeah.
need,
Right,
then we can actually make a motion on how we wanna proceed.
yeah, just
We can
Pull
also.
do it
look
on our
into-
next meeting agenda and look at it. Would you have time before? Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right, then that will be until the next, we'll
Mhm.
put it off till then.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make a motion for everything, so.
You
it's-
don't- Yeah, don't make yourself, double work yourself.
Okay, next item is the Maple Trail bus stop update.
update or discussion?
Well, I guess a little bit of both,
Okay.
so,
I brought this up a while back because this year we moved the mail, or the bus stop, combined them over here on Maple Trail. In just the short times that I'm down there twice a week, I have seen far more dangerous things occur, more safety issues at the combined mailbox than I ever did over here at Tomahawk. The problem that we had in the original plan was that these buses were gonna be staggered in such a manner that the majority of the people wouldn't be there at the same time. But unfortunately, the buses are showing up literally within 4 to 6 minutes of each other. So we've got cars racing in late while kids are running through the parking lot. We had a kid almost get struck just the other day. And I don't see any real gain in putting them over there. Once the buses leave, we got 4 cars trying to get out that super wide entrance at the same time. And I think Tomahawk over here did provide some physical barriers to the safety for the kids. So I would move. Unfortunately, Mr. Grubbs and the other gentleman was not able to make it tonight. But he did say that whatever decision that we came up with around next year, that they would go with. So my interest is putting it back to where it was before. This bus over here and then the other bus over at the office. That's my interest.
okay. And after we had received your email, that he wouldn't be able to attend, I reached out to Mr. Davis himself because of the fact that I know your schedule's often busy. It's hard to, get in touch with you or get a response, to find out what they actually said or what transpired. So I was hesitant to contact him at first because, like I said, I figured him better than I do probably. I get a little hesitant that way. But he was very nice. He was very friendly. He actually requested to meet with myself and Kevin, which we did. And he in turn has sent us an email, and I will pass out copies of that, what his recommendation is. Is that the right one? Okay. And I'll let you read them, and then can discuss.
What route did the buses take when we were down here? Did they go into the mail house and turn around or something?
They-
No,
What did they do?
They pull in and loaded the children from the bus stop, and then they backed out into the parking lot and drive back out.
And there, one thing Mr. Davis was saying that they had some issues with when they were down on Tomahawk because, people coming in to get their mail and people dropping off the kids, people trying to leave and whatnot. And he said oftentimes that the issue they had with trying to get the bus backed up and turned around in there is there was no place for them to do that. I think his other concern was the fact that what he stated was, the kids come running from the playground and whatnot as well as, having that there. He stated that he was willing to have these drivers more staggered for these different routes. Plus, if they continue with coming from, I guess it's the same bus that starts at Bowman and then comes over here to,
One comes
Maple.
across Shawnee,
yeah,
the
And-
first bus, and the other bus comes up and comes in this way.
okay,
The bus that comes in this way pulls up onto Shawnee and then backs onto Maple into traffic and then pulls around.
okay.
It's
Good.
unfortunate they're not here because I've taken several videos of
Mhm.
this in addition to some of the stuff that's been going on,
Yeah,
so.
as far as the bus thing, they can't even get those buses staggered at the school. I can't really believe they're gonna be doing that, and I drive a bus for Prince William sometimes too. Trying to get your buses staggered like that at a stop.
That was the original plan for as it is right now, it was said that, hey, they're gonna be
Right.
far enough apart that one group will be there, but it's not. And if they want complaints, I can certainly refer parents to that.
So,
So would it be your suggestion that we put it back at the original spot?
That would be my motion, is to vote that we recommended the school to send it back over to the original location.
Second.
I'm just reading. Discussion?
Sounds good to me. I haven't been there because I'm at work, but going with you.
Okay, I guess, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have no dog in this fight, so. Okay, let's see, we have another, number 8 is usage of the picnic shelter and some signage. And speaking of signage, I better get this out before my train of thought derails. If in the future, any of y'all happens to notice any of the signs missing, such as our, our street signs, or the children at play signs, or we just lost our sign for the meeting down here not long ago. I've seen the handicap signs down here at the parking lot before. If you see anything like that, call the office and report it. As a community, that's what we all work together for. They may get 15 calls, but I'm sure they'd rather have 15 calls and none at all, and then not know about it until a later date. But I just wanted to throw that out there, so that if you do happen to notice something like that, just give them a call and let them, hey, by the way, did you notice this sign is missing here? I just wanted to give you a heads up. So, with regards to the usage of the picnic shelter, we had some people that showed up not long ago. They evidently had a really good time. They left behind their debris, which included broken glass, bottle caps, and they evidently had several piñatas, because there was piñata debris. Anyhow, so I think maybe we should think about some signage about the usage of the shelter. No, maybe, I don't know, no piñatas, clean up after yourself when you're done, something to that effect. It's like I said, if they came to your house and did it, I think you'd want them to clean up.
Well, they would be my guests.
So, I'm just saying that I'm bringing that up, and that's part A of it. And then with regards to the usage of it, I know that some of the other, that it's been said it's a first come, first served basis. However, I've had people call me with regards to wanting to use it, and one lady in particular, I guess I must have offended her because she never returned my email, but I said, look, I don't make the actual call. It goes before our entire committee. I'm like, you say it's for a birthday party for your granddaughter. That's fine. What's the age of your granddaughter approximately? How many people do you anticipate having? What type of activities do you think you'll have? And what's the time frame? What time do you plan on doing this? And I've never heard back, so I don't know if she's still gonna do it or not. And we had previous members that had release of liability forms, which Shawneeland was not liable. However, I saw nothing in that paperwork that stated that they were liable for the cleanup and if, damages and something to that effect. So that's,
Without a sign up, you wouldn't know.
that's
We wouldn't know without a sign up
correct.
ahead of time. We wouldn't know who was there.
That
Somebody would
is
have to check it.
correct.
And if you don't have anybody enforcing it, even with the sign up, we had a sign up for a while,
Mhm.
but none of us are babysitting it, so,
Right.
drive by, there's somebody there, you don't know whether they signed up for it or not.
Right,
You can put a sign up, clean up after yourselves, but you can put a sign up that says don't be a bad person, but.
Doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be a good guy, does it?
Right.
I mean, it was just a thought, cause, it's just, it's not only their property, but it's everybody else's too, and I mean, I'm sure everybody sitting in the audience, if they went to use it and someone else had
Absolutely.
just been up here and left a nice mess, I don't think y'all would appreciate it very much either. I mean, that's just my thoughts, but,
And I agree with you. What can we do Kevin, what can you do from your end of it? Anything? Just a sign?
Yeah, I mean, you guys come up with, some kind of a sign you want me to put up, and we'll make it and put it up.
So even if somebody got pictures of them, who it was making the debris, I mean, what can you do to them?
only if you had them sign something, I guess would be the only way you could do something like that. And if it was the same people that had signed it, I mean, that's just my thoughts, but,
It's just like trash at the beach. I mean, we have all sorts of trash that gets left all over the beach down there. You know, anytime people come together and use it, they unfortunately tend to leave a mess behind.
so,
We could put up a sign.
Yeah. On the flip side, I think the no dumping sign of the original mail house helped for that situation, if I recall.
You did.
Something similar.
Clean up after yourselves, clean up the trash. I'm okay with it. Just don't know, people that don't care, will they obey a sign?
maybe we could leave them some trash bags.
Well, I mean, they've got a trash can right there, and
Well, that's true, that's true.
choose not to use
Choose
it,
not to
so.
use the trash can. Yeah.
I don't know, I mean,
Outside of going right away with the sign, getting some verbiage on that, let's see what happens over the summer.
Okay.
And give it some thought and come back. And maybe we institute a sign up or something, just like that. But
just a thought,
it's not wide open county property,
no,
so you may have issues there,
true,
right? So we gotta figure out
And that's the other thing, it may not even be Shawneeland residents that made the mess.
true.
so let's give this one some serious thought.
Okay, so I guess we'll put this on the next,
Sure. I think Kevin would probably have a sign somewhere. Don't you have some spare signs laying around?
Oh, we can make something.
There you go. Stick it up there.
and it has the big red circle with the little, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Just do it.
okay,
And I don't think we need an
All right.
action. If Kevin can do it,
okay, okay,
we're good to go.
okay. It's like I said, I'm not trying to be hard,
Oh, ma'am,
I'm
you're
just
doing
trying to
great.
think of,
That's right.
it's property, it belongs to all of us, so we just wanna take care of it.
That's right.
Okay, now. Okay. Well, I guess we have come to the section of public comment, let me. Open here. Jason,
Hi,
you're the first one on the list here.
yeah, lucky me. This isn't so much a question, a comment is a question, I don't know if that's allowed, but, are those trees on Wolf Spring Trail that are on the, utility lines, are those gonna be addressed as part of this?
No, we don't know, we've already called the utilities, it's up to them to come and take those trees down.
Okay,
We can't touch those.
I see. It's not a right-of-way issue?
Well, it's more of a safety issue for staff. We're not equipped to work around power lines, so that is totally up to the power company.
And Verizon's, that's their box that's busted in half, it's been laying there for 2 years. And they just said nothing?
We call and report this stuff, that's all we can do.
So we need to call them about it, or we need to call you guys to
Well, you can call us and we'll call them, but I mean, and that's what's happened, we've called them several times.
yeah. did we address the playground? What did we decide from the manager's report about the playground? Was there any kind of, motion with the board in terms of we're gonna address it, we're gonna let it follow, it seems to be degrading?
No, we didn't, I don't think we did anything, we just,
Is that why you use that often?
Not nearly as often as the one up here, but it does get
That
used.
people are using?
Yes.
I mean, my opinion is we have basically, the lakes, the picnic area, and the 2 playgrounds, and they all get used. So, we need to try to maintain the amenities we have, such as they are. Which goes back to the mail houses. I mean, yeah, I think a steel roof would be the most, both attractive and durable solution. A shingle roof is nice, but it's, the wind blows here. I don't know how hard it blows down at these mail houses. I can tell you, I'm glad I got a steel roof up top of my house. So that would be my recommendation, is that we do a steel roof. If we're gonna revert back to the original original bus stop configuration, what are we gonna do to try to make it safer this go around? Has there been any barriers or any recommendations as far as how we can deal with buses turning around, people checking mail, and kids running across the parking lot to get on the bus?
We've talked about some things, but never anything officially, because moving this back is ultimately gonna be up to the school.
Right.
So we're gonna recommend that it get moved back, but they could tell us no. So we'll see what happens with this.
They were the impetus behind this move.
Yes.
Are they satisfied with the situation as it stands now?
They're,
Seems like you're not.
they're recommending that we continue that location for next year. So, we'll see what happens. But again, they were supposed to be here tonight, but unfortunately their schedule, they couldn't make it. So, I have lots of videos and stuff that I'm going to send to them now, so we'll see what happens.
And the last thing I have is just the roads, guys. I mean, you guys have been on this board for over 10 years, right? We've paved the roads. Some of us have left the board. We still need to pave the roads. This is the first function of Shawneeland, is to have roads. So whether we're gonna pave them, because that was a motion that was put forth 3.5 years ago, and that never came to fruition because the Public Works said that it's not viable to put blacktop in here. Well, the sun keeps beating down, the rain keeps happening, the temperatures keep changing, the roads, these are all tar and chip roads, we need to pave the roads. So, I mean, that is, that's more important to me than the lake, or the roof, or the fence out here, or the sign at the public area. I mean, littering is just to waste 10 minutes on that, guys. I mean, we're not gonna stop people from throwing trash in any public spaces, but I just implore you, let's try to take care of the roads that we have while we still have them, because we don't wanna end up like the community down the street. Thank you.
you're welcome. The next person up is Manuel.
Of me.
Yes.
I got concern on, right in front of my house, contractors with the trailers, it's a tight turn coming down the hill. And when the contractors that come in and do work here, they come down that hill pretty fast. And they go into that ditch, and they're destroying that. Not only that, but some of these people are reckless drivers. My wife was walking on one of those trails, and she had to help a lady up because one of the drivers just came zooming in, didn't give him a chance when he turned, that the lady had to jump out of the way. Is there any way we can tell the contractors to reroute from there, or, because that is not a turn that some of these contractors are taking with the trailers.
Is this Hickory?
That is not a turn.
Is this Hickory Trail, the new builds?
No, right on Dogwood Trail, where it turns. It's kind of like a serpentine.
I thought that was Hickory, up where the 3 new builds are. Is that where you're talking about?
No, Dogwood Trail.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, it's not made for a trailer. and a truck to come in that fast and to make that turn that tight.
That's the only way up, right?
That's the only way up, but there's another way. They can come up to, instead of come down the hill, they can go down the hill on the other side. So, there's two ways in, right? They can either go on the south side instead of the north side, that's where my property is. And like I say, I live right there, and I see them every day, every Saturday when I'm watching TV. All I hear is brakes squeaking and the trailers hitting that ditch. You know, so
Thank you.
that's a public safety issue with people walking or trying to walk their dogs, or property issue, you know, for the city. I don't know what we can do about it. So you either reroute them or put some signs in there they can't go through.
Okay,
Is that all, sir?
That's it.
okay, all right. Well, what do you think?
Thank you.
Thank you very
I know what
much.
you're talking about.
Next, I'm sorry. Right. Next, we have Jenny Guy.
Well, I understand about the picnic shelter. I think that there's no, I mean, put up your signs, I don't think that's gonna work. I approached a couple weekends ago, a family that were being very rowdy there, and, they said that they had every right to be there, and who the hell was I, et cetera, and so I left. I didn't know who to report it to. I wasn't gonna call, by the time the sheriff's office got here, it wouldn't matter. And I also don't wanna cause a lot of problems, because we're vulnerable. So anyway, I hope your signs work, but I think that these people felt entitled to do whatever they darn well pleased, because they paid their dues. Anyway, we should take a picture. But, I was under also, now back to my real subject, I was under the impression that we had already set up all of the things that we needed to do about the lake. I thought that they were going to reassess it and come back with stuff that we needed to do for the lake. And now we're gonna put this off till August, but the people will be coming here to talk to us about the lake. And possibly why they didn't do a follow-up test. Anyway, sorry.
It is detailed there.
I need to be able to speak out of order.
Go ahead.
You want me to speak? Okay. Just gotta make sure to follow the rules. So they did come back and I reported back, nothing really changed much on the dive test at all. And it was in the budget that went forward, that at that time, nobody wanted to spend more money, but we could come back and reassess it based upon, basically see where the budget's at. And that's kind of where we are.
But the money had been set aside.
It had been, but then it still needed to be carried forwarded, and the board would have had to approve that again, but it didn't make it out of the committee.
Because it was the January meeting that was early. Okay.
Okay.
I would also like to thank Kevin and them for picking up tires that were attracting mosquitoes. And the other crap. That's it.
Okay. And it looks like we have Josh Fulton.
Yeah, I'll echo everyone's sentiment too with the public property. I know I had a gentleman approach me wanting to fish my pond because people don't respect the public ponds. And, my first thought was your thought was no enforcement, no rules. It's really hard to have rules if there's no enforcement. Unfortunately, the day and age we're in, people don't have a lot of respect for each other or anyone else's property or our public property. Being involved with a lot of other groups, you know, almost everyone has some type of cleanup champions now, because even like in the outdoor world, hikers and backpackers, the people that are out there to enjoy that part of our public property, they trash it all the time. So whether that's hikers or off-road enthusiasts, they're all people just abuse things. So no enforcement, no rules, unless you're gonna do something. I would advise perhaps, if it's something we need to get serious about because of the lack of respect and potential vandalism and damage, that we look into cameras. There seems to be a lot of very good camera systems out nowadays that might be able to deter some of that activity. But I had a question too. Rhonda, could you explain how our funds come into here? Because we pay obviously our county taxes, but then we have that separate sanitary fee. And I, you know, relatively new to Shawneeland and certainly new to the meetings, I'm not understanding how our monies are appropriated entirely.
I'm gonna, get Joe to partner with me and probably Kevin, but when you get your tax bill, you see a breakdown on it for your real estate taxes. Then you see your sanitary district fees, okay? Your taxes go into the overall county bundle, for lack of a better expression. Sanitary district fees are kept in a separate for the reserve fund. They're totally ours. And that's how they are collected, and it's like having a separate savings account. That's what that is for. That's where the sanitary district fees that are collected go. When they prepare the budget each year, they look to see how much they need, and if they don't have enough money to cover the difference between, say it's like $20,000 difference, then that $20,000 would come over from the reserve fund to go in to actually fund the budget. I don't know if I'm making this clear or not. Then at the end of the fiscal year, whatever is not spent all goes back into the reserve fund. So it's like if you get a paycheck and you know you have this bill and that bill, but you have everything else taken care of, you're gonna throw it back in the savings account. That's kind of how I'm trying to explain it, but.
So I asked that general, just so you could speak to it. So do we have, is our budget only what is collected through the sanitation, or do you also get tax dollars from our tax? No,
We
it's
don't
just the
get
sanitary.
just the sanitary district fees. And speaking of which, I'd like to bring this up, and it's a little, not exactly off subject, but I want to talk about sanitary districts. And we're very fortunate with ours. We have two of them that I know of in Frederick County. One is in Lake Holiday, and the other one is here. We have our own staff, as you know, to help take care of the maintenance work that needs to be done that they can cover on their own without having to have a contractor come in and do some major work. And we also are able to account for what's in the reserve fund. There are, however, some other sanitary districts, and I'm not going to name specific names of the locality. They have at least 5 or 6 sanitary districts in their locality. Those sanitary districts also have, and this is crazy, like a board association or an HOA, so they put it, I was looking at their information today, and they do not have their own maintenance staff like we do. They depend on the locality's government employees. And not only do the people pay their regular sanitary district fees, like say we pay our $660 for improved lots, they also have to pay that locality to collect their sanitary district fees a 5% fee, and on top of that, another $350 a year per property owner. So, and the other thing that's kind of crazy, and it's maybe the way that theirs is set up, but if you go to, like I said, to look at the reserve fund, we know what's in Shawneeland's. We can count that out. We can account for that. We know what's in Lake Holidays. All these other ones that they have in this other locality that I'm speaking of, it's all lumped in together. How they make sense of that, I don't know. I don't understand it because I read it and reread it. But, you know, I know that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but it kind of made me think that for what we have, we're very fortunate, you know, with our sanitary district and the fees that we pay and whatnot like that. So I don't know that I would want to live in a sanitary district where we have to prepare our own budget and the locality actually approves it, but they can't account for what our specific reserve fund is, which to me is kind of crazy because it's all pulled together with several other of the sanitary districts they oversee. But that's just me, and that's neither here nor there. And I'm sorry to get off task there, but was I able to somewhat answer your question that you
Yeah,
had?
well, it answered my question, and it just seems like I'm being double taxed. I don't mind the sanitation district fee, but if I'm also paying the same county rates as everyone else, but none of that money gets funneled here separately, it just causes me to think and start asking other questions.
Well, they take your money basically I understand where you're coming from. I mean, ours is a separate fee for what we deal with up here. Your tax funds go to schools, they go to sheriff, yeah.
I'm very aware, but
Yeah, and
everyone
I'm
else
just-
is on roads that those tax dollars cover. So this isn't just like anything we're doing here.
Right.
It's just a matter of me being educated. I served in a county, or in a local borough up in Pennsylvania
Okay.
prior to me leaving. I'm just asking questions, getting educated before, you know,
Okay.
I sound foolish.
I'm just,
All right, with that, perhaps the best way to think of it is just think of it as an HOA fee. Just think of it that way and it makes more sense to you.
Without all the restrictions. Cap.
Correct.
yeah,
We're actually probably freer to do what we want with our property, than the regular HOA, and we are not as unstable as our neighboring community down the street, who tonight is meeting, trying to figure out what's going on, because their management association fell apart. So they pay more than we do, and they have far less in terms of roads and infrastructure.
and they're gonna be paying even more next year from what I understand, which, I mean, we're paying $660 right now. I think they're paying like 800 and some. And if you ride down there and look at some of the conditions, and I feel bad for those people. They don't get hardly anything. I mean,
But I mean, it does make you think, right? Because we are totally footing the bill. Us and half the people who own there's only half the people that own the unimproved lots pay their taxes. But it costs so much to go after them, we
Yes.
can't get that money out of the other people. So we're bearing the burden of
4
everything.
more years.
and plus the fact that if you try to go after them, I mean, or if you try to auction the lots off, a lot of them won't perk. Now, I don't know with alternative health systems if that would change things, but, you know, even to take them to task and go to auction is a real
All 4 years.
hassle.
You can't find them. Many of them are just a name and no address or anything, it doesn't matter how hard you try.
And their children may not even know that they had purchased this property, because oftentimes a lot of them have passed, and their kids don't even know that they own this property up here. But anyhow, I mean, I hope I didn't dance around what you were asking me.
No.
And when you're driving on these roads in this area, in the winter, you'll get to Back Mountain Road and it'll be covered in snow.
Yep,
And this one will be clear.
They're pretty good about it.
absolutely.
Justify that.
One thing for you to know is that all of the roads in the county are maintained by the state highway department, not by the county.
Okay, so if the.
So the
state-
county doesn't
VDOT.
maintain roads in the county, the state does.
So it's state
The
maintained
fees
roads.
here, right, so you pay a state tax and they take care of the road. The county taxes doesn't maintain roads. So that's just one difference. I heard you, because I know
I just said-
Pennsylvania
You're right.
boroughs, you're paying a local tax and they're maintaining the roads too. Where here, it's not like that. The highway department maintains them.
Things are a little different down here.
But if you lived in Winchester, then you would be paying, now if you paid city taxes, then they cover road maintenance.
you know.
But for the county, we don't have that under our taxing, it's to the state.
Mr. Fulton, do you have a problem with trespassers fishing your pond? Did I misunderstand you?
No, I had a gentleman approach and seeking permission to
Okay,
fish my pond.
okay.
At least he asked,
Huh?
at least he asked.
Yeah, he's very polite, very respectable person, a veteran.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's run into issues at the public ponds, more like trash and
Yes, sir. Okay.
people defecating, and, you know, all the things you don't have to deal with.
Broken bottles.
Thank you, sir.
Saturday night.
Thank
I
you.
assure you, there would only be one time that I would have a problem with a trespasser.
You didn't hear
That's
that.
right, my little chihuahua.
Everybody's allowed their expressions.
That's right. It's okay. Okay, well, I guess if there are no more comments, then I think we will adjourn the meeting. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Good, I like it that. You can tell them
We're
where
not
to
gonna
go.
make sure.
This one right here. This is the one that gets